This is going to be a short video because I am very sick, but you gotta do what you gotta do. House of the Dragon just needs more dragons, that's it. And I don't necessarily mean more dragons by quantity. I mean the show needs more scenes with dragons. Let's be real, the only reason any of us are watching the show, whether it be the hardcore fans or the casual viewers, is because the main characters are dragon riders. There was a moment in season 2 that really captured the fan base by storm that I think exemplifies this. It wasn't dialogue, it wasn't sword fighting, it wasn't a huge shadowy twist. It was a tired, mourning teenager finding solace in what seems to be the only thing in the world that brings him genuine happiness. Hearing Sunfire coo and seeing him nuzzle Aegon did more for this character than all of season 1.
The Targaryen, who sits the Iron Throne, is not just a king.
I'm a novel and script editor, so my brain is always working on overtime for what scenes could or could not be, but you could imagine how much more impactful Aegon and Sunfire's injuries would have been if we had seen them together more. It could have been a scene at the beginning of the season to mirror Rhaenyra's at the start of season 1. Aegon flying high above King's Landing on a literal glittering dragon. Or we could have seen Sunfire at the coronation, the literal most important day of Aegon's life, being there as support. I mean, pretty much just anything to see their bond and how much it affects both of them. I truly don't think the showrunners know how impactful and interesting these tiny moments and interactions are. Just this season, there was a moment where Syrax mourned with Rhaenyra when she found the body of her son, and that was heartbreaking. Or when Daemon invites Mysaria to rub Caraxes' muzzle with so much pride and happiness on his face. This is one of the few times we see Daemon genuinely lost in the moment type happy. These types of little scenes harken back to the original Game of Thrones series too, where their impact was tried, true, and tested. As much as we loved seeing Drogon immolate people, some of the most special moments was just the dragons being dragons. The moment where Daenerys is giddy as she watched Drogon cook his first meal. Or the moment where Drogon is cuddled on her lap like a child. Or when Jon touches Drogon and you could see the look of acceptance in his eyes. The original series had plenty of scenes of incredible action involving dragons, but it also had wonderful scenes of people just enjoying the majesty of dragons, of them being in awe, of simply being in their presence. House of the Dragon Season 2 is severely missing this. Rhaenyra is the main character and a dragon rider, but how many times have we seen her and Syrax together this season? Once? Twice? Aemond has guilt over killing Luke, but we hardly ever see him on an emotional journey with Vhagar, the dragon that did it. Look, I understand that animating the dragons costs a lot of money for CG, but that's the bed these creators chose to lie in when they made a show about a dragon civil war. That would be like me making a Transformers movie and then not wanting to show Transformers because it's expensive.
No, Optimus!
And the show knows we want more dragon too. The end of season 1 showed Daemon attempting to spur Vermithor and bring him into the fold. The highest rated episode of the show is the one where dragons fight, surprise, surprise. The war and what each side can or cannot do is completely centered around dragons, dragons, dragons. And one of the biggest missed opportunities is how these people react to the dragons they are against or allied with. Daemon and Rhaenys had a scene together, but there also should have been a scene involving Rhaenys and Caraxes, because that was her father's dragon. She would have known and grew with Caraxes for decades. Imagine how hurt she must be, seeing Daemon constantly run away to tantrum with her late father's mount. Daemon has even more connections. Vhagar was his father's mount, even before it was his wife's. Aside from Caraxes, Vhagar is probably the dragon Daemon is closest with. I would think that Daemon would be very upset that Aemond, who's basically just a wannabe Daemon, is using that dragon against him. And as for Meleys, Daemon has known that dragon even longer because it was his mother's. She took Daemon flying on Meleys as a newborn. Meleys was the first dragon Daemon ever rode. So for Meleys to die at the hands of Vhagar, no less, would be literally like family members killing each other in this war. But we don't get scenes of reflection like this from Daemon or Rhaenys or pretty much any other character, which kind of makes the dragons and their place in the world feel like afterthoughts. In fact, I will go one step further and say that the show's outline and plotting has plain missed out on a ton of phenomenal possible scenes, even aside from dragons. Do you realize we haven't gotten a single scene of Aegon and Rhaenyra together? Like, they're the two royals, the two leads, brother and sister who lived together for more than a decade, and nothing. Imagine how much more tragic this war would have been if Rhaenyra actually loved Aegon like a brother, or how much more intense the war would be if they hated each other. But instead we get nothing, just an absence of a relationship. Rhaenys and Aemon could have had a scene together in Season 1 since they clash in Season 2. Otto seemed to be genuinely happy when Helaena gave her speech.
Let us have some music.
It would have been cool to see their relationship, since she was everything he wanted her to be. Or it would have been cool to see Aemond and Helaena interact, since they seemed to have a thing in Season 1. Or Helaena interact with Aegon before the death of their child. Or Helaena just interact with anyone for more than 2 minutes an episode. The actress is fantastic and she needs more time on screen. The show recognizes the power of foreshadowing scenes because we've already got plenty of setup for Daemon versus Aemond, and if you know the books, you know what happens there. But I just wish they would capitalize on some of these intricate but still powerful little narrative opportunities. House of the Dragon is still a great show with a lot of promise on the horizon, and I've had a great time with it so far, but I hope in Season 3 the writers will realize just how much they are leaving on the table, because these little moments are actually really big.
I alone was meant to be this protector.
They're 1,500 strong at least, my lord.
But to unite the realm, I had to send the dragons to war.
Anyway, thanks for watching all the way to the end. If you like what you heard, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you really want to be a homie, check out my Patreon or go to my website to hire me on as an editor or check out my books. As always, it was a pleasure, and I'll talk to you all again soon.